Oh boy, we're back. We're gonna be opening some packs. I'm so excited. Core Set 2021. We are so ready for some of these cards. This is one of the best core sets that I think I've ever seen in my time playing Magic. It's a weird time because I took a 10-year break, but like, whew, the core set has never been as neat or as powerful as this one seems to be. Not to mention, I don't think Wizards of the Coast has ever done as excellent of a job of listening to its player base as they did with this set, as they did with the concerns everybody had about same art reprints, etc., right? Why is this looking crazy? Interesting. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, we got a Steward. Cancel. Cancel seems like an odd choice to put in, considering we have so many 3-mana counter-target spells that do extra stuff, like Surveil or Cycle. Really, truly, I think that the 2-mana counterspell is, yes, too powerful. However, I feel like the 3-mana counterspell isn't quite powerful enough. It should be, like, counterspell, if I was going to remake it, should be like 2.5 mana, right? It needs a little extra half a mana to be worth it, if that makes sense. So cancel just seems not so great. But how like every other counterspell is this piece of art? I'm in an orb of you can't hurt me. Counterspell. Gnarled Sage, ooh, by Raul Vitale, or maybe Vital. Reach, as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, he gets +2 or +0/+2 and has Vigilance. Okay. Alright. Hunter's Edge. Oh, another wild card, okay. Let's go on to the next one. Prismite, alright. Llanowar Visionary. That is a good body for... definitely a good card in Limited. Feat of Resistance. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains protection from the color of your choice until the end of turn. Lofty Denial. We haven't paid as much attention to spoilers as maybe other people have. I've definitely seen some rares and mythics kind of get spoiled, but I haven't really read a lot about the commons and uncommons, and I'm really excited to kind of go on that journey with everybody. So if you guys see something that you guys think is really strong, please feel free to pipe in. Lofty Denial. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. If you counter a creature with flying, or if you control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. Dub. +2/+2, first strike, and has Night, in addition to its other creature types. Seasoned Hollowblade. That is pretty good. A 3 power body for 2 mana that can basically stick around no matter what. That's pretty good. Mazemind Tome. Alright, so we put a page counter on it. We scry 1. We put a page counter on it for 2 and draw a card. And when there are 4 or more page counters on the tome, exile it. If you do, we gain 4 life. You know, this, to the naked eye, doesn't seem fantastic, but I actually kind of like it. I don't know if, I mean, 2 mana to draw a card, you can scry with it if you don't have the mana free, and then you still gain life. It's a pretty powerful amount of card advantage, if I'm being completely honest. Not everything has to be broken to be usable. Alright, Goblin Wizardry. Who doesn't love this art? I mean, it looks like he's tooting fire, but he's not. We're creating 2 Goblin Wizard creature tokens with Prowess. Very cool. Infernal Scarring. +2/+0, draw card. Okay. Sure Strike. Gets +3/+0 against first strike. That's a decent draft combat trick. As well as a good kill card. We didn't get a chance to read this one. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And then it fights without fighting, so it's kind of like that card from Ixalan that does a decent job of pumping and fighting. I like it a lot. Okay, Warden of the Woods. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw 2 cards. Okay. Carrion Grub. Masticores. Who doesn't love a 3/4 for 3 colorless? You gotta discard a card. It's got protection from planeswalkers. That's very interesting. Deals 1 damage to target creature or to target planeswalker, and then it can also become indestructible. Wow, that's a sideboard solution, I think, at the very least. If not, it might replace our handy dandy Serpent Coil, or Coiled Serpent, whatever it's called. Basri Solidarity pumps up a lot. Archfiend's Vessel. If it entered from the graveyard, or if you cast it from your graveyard, exile it. If you do, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying. If I'm going to reanimate something, wouldn't I want something better than a 5/5 flyer? Maybe not from limited? It wouldn't be too bad in limited. Portcullis Vine. It's a wall. Sacrifice a creature with Defender. Draw a card. Wow! Wow! I can't believe they reprinted a card like this. I'm actually quite pleased with this card. This is a very good card, and it's very good for limited. Thrill of Possibility. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards. Okay. And it's instant speed for red. That is not too shabby at all. Concordia Pegasus. Alright, let's see what rare we got. Feline Sovereign. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. Whenever one or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Who doesn't love it? I wonder how good the tribes will be in limited for this, with the bosses like that being rare. Okay, there's another Denial. Turret Ogre. Alright, so it's kind of Hill Giant-y. When Turret Ogre enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's no Flame Tongue Kabu, but hey, we can't all be winners. Next damage to any target at instant speed. Alright. This spell costs 3 less to cast. If you've gained 3 more life, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Alright. Pretty basic. Capture Sphere. Okay, Riddle Form. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have Riddle Form become a 3/3 Phoenix creature in a Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until the end of turn. And it lets you scry. This is really good in Sealed. Anything that has a decent mana dump in Sealed is something that you want to keep. And card draw, scrying, all of that is very good as a dump spell. Like Spectral Sailor would be a very high pick for Sealed, for example. Primal Might. A sorcery that gives +X/+X. Then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Less than impressed. Destroy target artifact, destroy target creature. Creatures without flying can't block. Interesting. Target creature gets +3/+0. Turn to Slag. Ooh, 5 damage to target creature. Destroy all equipment attached to that creature. If I remember right, this is a reprint from the Mirrodin block, and that Skull Clamp artwork kind of reminds me of the Mephidros. Griffin Airy. If at the beginning of your instep you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 White Griffin creature token with flying. Man, the life gain decks are going to have some stuff going for them. Terror of the Peaks. Ooh. Spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Nuts. Okay. We got a Combat Trick. And Interesting. Sacrifices a creature with flying. Must be blocked if able. When Canopy Stalker dies, you gain 1 life for each creature that died this turn. Okay. Not just ones you control either. Silver Smoke Ghoul. Gain 3 or more life. Return Silver Smoke Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You can sacrifice him to draw a card. Peer into the abyss. Target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. Round up each time. Interesting. Very interesting. This is gonna... Somebody can break this, I feel like, in some format somewhere. But look at that art. Isn't that gruesome? Alright, we got a Flying Prowess. That's really good. Okay. That's interesting. The mana might hold it out of things like Rakdos Sacrifice, but it's definitely interesting. Okay, you can pay mana to loot. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. Dire Fleet Warmonger, an Orc Pirate. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, you may sacrifice another creature, and if you do, he gets +2/+2 plus trample. Or he's just a 3/3 for 3. Who doesn't love it? Oh, the legendary shrine that talks like about all the shrines. That's neat. Oh man. Ooh, Rise Again. Return target card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Radiant Fountain. How interesting. You gain some life, and you have a land. Is it better than a color land? Depending on the deck, maybe. Titanic Growth. Wow, for 1 more mana, you get 1 more +1/+1 than Giant Growth. Okay. Malefic Scythe. It's an artifact, equipment, black. Comes into play with a soul counter. It gets +1/+1 for each soul counter on this scythe. Whenever the equipped creature dies, place a soul counter on Malefic Scythe. Equip for 1. Okay. Ooh, Rada! We remember her from the Time Spiral block. As long as it's your turn, she gets first strike. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands from the top of your library. And man, you pay 6 mana, it gets +X/+X, which is the number of lands you control. Ridiculous. All on a 3/3 for 3 body. Vetted Imp. Okay. Seen that before. Who doesn't love a 6 mana 6/6 with trample, right? Scry 3, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or land card, draw a card. Okay, instant? Nope, sorcery. Soul Seer. 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. Okay. Elder Gargaroth. There's the sweet, sweet mono green card that's going to be added to every deck that has Questing Beast. Okay. Alright, Burn Bright. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Keen Glide Master. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Another sealed card that's going to be pretty good. Again, any mana dump creatures in sealed are very effective because there's going to be so many times where you don't have mana to spend on like a card or spell. It's just going to be so much more efficient and so much more value to have mana to spend on dumps like this. Training comes into play, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has trample. Okay. Rewind, love it. Shacklegeist. Can only block creatures with flying. Tap 2 untapped spirits you control. Tap target creature you don't control. Rookie Mistake. Gets... that would be a very interesting combat trick. That could possibly 2 for 1. Tome Anima. Can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Interesting. Falconer Adept. Whenever he attacks, create a 1/1 bird that's flying and that's tapped and attacking. Not bad. Stormwing Entity. He's got Prowess. This spell costs 3 less if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. So for a total of 2 mana if you've already cast a spell. Wow. Okay. When Stormwing Entity enters the battlefield, scry 2. That is really neat. Oh, wow. Anointed Chorister. Lifelink gets +3/+3. That's a real good mana dump. Life goes on. You gain 4 life, and if a creature died this turn, you gain 8 life instead. Gloom Sower. Whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Alpine Watchdog. Invigorating Surge. Wow. What a card, right? Put a +1/+1 counter on your Krasis, and then double the number of +1/+1 counters on your Krasis. Or your Serpent, or your Hydra. Unsubstantiate. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. I could like this if there was like a card draw or make a 1/1 creature or something, because this is bad card advantage. You waste a card, basically buying some time, putting something back in their hand. Will it see play? I mean, for 2 mana, especially splashable like it is, maybe. I'm not sure. And the fact that it doesn't counter, so things like Chandra can still be put back in someone's hand, could definitely be really good. But I wish it was more of a cantrip. Conspicuous Snoop. I think we've seen a spoiler for this one. But you can cast goblins from the top of your library, and as long as the top card of your library is a goblin, he has all the activated abilities of that card. Wow. Makeshift Battalion. Oh, yeah. Whenever he attacks with 2 others, he gets bigger. Read the Tides. Choose 1, draw 3 cards, or return up to 2 creatures to their owner's hands. That's pretty good and sealed. Sky Sander. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Okay. Yori Index, maybe? Fungal Rebirth. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If a creature died this turn, create 2 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. Okay. Let's see what we got. Ooh, another Rada. Pew pew. It's a Minecraft skeleton. Revitalize, a good cantrip. Gain 3 life and draw a card. Not too shabby. Twin Blade Assassins. Elf Assassin. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, draw a card. Ooh. Mana, mana, mana. And of course, don't you love Duress? Man, we are hitting the Radas hard today. Rousing Reed. Enchant creature. Enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and discard a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Pretty good card advantage. Pretty good enchantment too. Buffs and gives flying. Man, love that. Furious Rise. I think I saw this one. Yeah, it lets you play stuff. If you have a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You can play that card until you exile another card. Pretty good. Could definitely be interesting and splashable in certain decks. Mind Rot, okay. Man, this has just been around for so long. But look at that art. Seb McKinnon. I love it. Reminds me of Jorah a bit, but maybe she's just like been drained. Staunch Shield Mate. Dwarf Soldier. Toss me! Alright, we got our Houndmaster for the first time. Oh, we got an epiphany. Alright, Grasp of Darkness. Wow. That's quite good. Basri, Frantic Inventory, draw a card, and then who doesn't love accumulated knowledge, right? I'm pretty sure this is the exact same thing as accumulated knowledge. Let's see what our rare is. Another Sanctum. Okay. There is a lot of graveyard hate in this format, though, so it might be less effective. 26. Drowsing Pteranodon. Defender. As long as you control a creature with power 4 or greater, he can attack as though it doesn't have Defender. Short Sword. Nice little buff. Swift Response. Destroy target tapped creature. That is very powerful and limited. Man. Against everything but Vigilance, am I right? Another Terror of the Peaks. We're not even below 200 yet, and we're getting some fantastic cards. Forgotten Sentinel comes in tapped. Conclave Mentor. Leafkin Avenger. Looks like our mana summoning Leafkin got some fire in his bridges. Okay. So he adds mana, and he deals damage equal to its power to target player or planeswalker. These wild cards drive me nuts. I don't need mythic wild cards. I got more of those than I do rares. Snare Spinner probably has reach. Sure does. Whenever it blocks a creature with flying, it becomes a 3/3. Okay. Lower Scale Kotal. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Lower Scale Kotal. That's not a terrible mutate target, right? Wow. Okay, we don't have a lot of the temples. We've got like the black, white, the blue, a lot of the blues. So we might see a few of those earlier than normal because I don't think we have any of the ones from M20. But lands are lands. Everybody loves them. Everybody wants them. Destroy target artifact or enchantment or exile a card from the graveyard. Man, better than Naturalize. Ooh. There's a sealed bomb right there. If you get this and you don't play it in sealed, you're messing up. Recursion in sealed is so strong. You get very few good cards. The ability to put them back in your deck somehow is an amazing thing to do. And again, sealed loves dump. So that 2-mana dump is really good. Obsessive Stitcher. Got some Human Centipede action going on. Draw a card, then discard a card. So it's a looter. And then you can sacrifice it to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Interesting. It's like an all-you-need Reanimator package. Ooh, we got another Gargadon, too. Probably the best green card in this whole set. Wall of Ruins. 0/4 that lets us scry 1. Not too shabby on common. Ornery Dilophosaur. Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Fierce Empath. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 6 or greater. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. Interesting. That might see some play. Tempered Veteran. Wow. It's definitely got some limited potential, especially with like Conclave Mentor, right? Very cool. Ooh, another Rogue. Whenever he becomes untapped, we can pay 2 to draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Discard a card, and it can't be blocked. Not to mention that is some cool art, Craig Spearing. Alright. We got an Ogre. We got another Shrine. The first time we get a red Shrine. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines you control. And then you have to discard a land or a shrine card to do it. And then we got Meteorite, which is a different take on Mana Rocks. Lets you do 2 damage when it comes into play, all for 5 mana. Not bad for things like Brawl or EDH, right? We got ourselves another Manticore, everyone. Crypt Lurker. Wow, look at that art. That's some Cthulhu-esque shit right there, right? When Crypt Lurker enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Truffle Snout, my happy little pig boy. He's my favorite. I love him. Watcher of the Spheres. Okay, flying. Creature spells with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, he gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Very Azorius of him. Brash Taunter. I love this art, even though it's very different from your typical magic art. I think he's great. Indestructible. Deals damage that it's been dealt to target opponent, and then he can fight on command. It's pretty good. Secure the Scene. Exile non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 creature token. Caged Zombie. Opponent loses 2 life. Can only do it when a creature dies. Rambunctious Mutt. Comes into play, and it disenchants. For a 3/4, not too shabby. Definitely pretty good and limited. Prowess. And you can sacrifice it to deal damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. Alright. Oh boy. Put a +1/+1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Alright. Teferi's Tutelage. When it comes in, we loot, and whenever we draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. Teferi's Ageless Insight. If you would draw a card, except for the first one you draw on each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So, imagine this plus accumulated knowledge. That'd be pretty neat, huh? Every card just doubles it. Another sphere. Looks like we're working our way through our commons and uncommons at this point. Alchemist Gift. Reminds me of Jade from Mortal Kombat. +1/+1 and gains your choice of Death Touch or Lifelink. Bone Pit Brute. When it dies, you can deal 1 damage to any target. Okay. Primal Might again. Finishing Blow. It's pretty expensive for a destroy target creature or planeswalker effect, but it's definitely good and limited. Jeskai Elder. Prowess. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Okay. Veto. Thorn of the Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of turn. Okay. Roaming Ghostlight. Turn up to 1 non-spirit creature to its owner's hand. Gale Swooper. Enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying. Celestial Enforcer. Tap target creature, activated this ability only if you control a creature with flying. So it's not as good as some of cards with a similar ability as far as it having conditions. That's kind of bad, but it might still see some sealed play. Kinetic Augur. Trample. Kinetic Augur's power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Okay. Fiery Emancipation. If a source, any source, would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage. Yikes. Alright. Get a new opt with Teferi. Get a Gorehorn, which is neat. Pitchburn Devils. Deals 3 damage to any target. Ooh, Kyrian Dryad is an uncommon now. That was a, what was it, Plane Shift? Plane Shift, I think. And it was rare then. That uncommon, man. Wow, what a great card. Sabiri Tzoldi Caravaner. Has haste. Another creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked. Discard your hand until the end of turn. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay. Interesting. And we got the Black Shrine. Lets you gain or lets your opponent lose life and you gain life based on the number of shrines you have. Enthralling Hold. So you gotta take control of a tapped creature. Magmut. It's a pinger. And then Kitesail Freebooter is quite good as far as it's a body, it has flying, and it takes a card out of play until it dies, of course. Scavenging Ooze. Ooh. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. This will 100% see play in green decks. I guarantee it. But you just... you catch them unawares, you get rid of their kitty, you get rid of their Uro, you get rid of their Woe Striders. Man, just too good. And on top of that, you get +1/+1 and some life. Who doesn't love it? Got ourselves some Crash Through reprint. Cool. We're sitting at 28 so far. Library Larcenist. Whenever it attacks, draw a card. Good lord, the amount of card draw on bodies in this set is insane. This at common? Just from attacking, you draw a card? Sure, it's a tiny little boy, but good lord. Glorious Anthem. It's a classic right there. I wish there was an interface on MTG Arena that would tell you, like, oh, this is all the sets you've seen this before, or something like that. I feel like I've either seen this or seen something like it. I don't know if it's the exact same card, but definitely seems familiar. Maybe that was a 1 mana, 1 white, and this is a lesser, like, more controlled reprint. I can't remember them. I feel like that's the same one. Tempered Steel got me crazy. Pride Mulkin. Enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Each creature you control with a counter has trample. Got our Scorching Dragonfire back, and we've got Indulging Patrician, a 3 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 black vampire noble, add uncommon with 1 power, 4 toughness, flying lifelink, and if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. Another Maze Mind. Big life gain archetype in this draft format. Big life gain, big draw card. It's like black-white life gain, and it seems like red-blue card draw. Igneous Cur, fire breathing, very good ability to have in the sealed format. Love this pseudo-impressionist art by Igor here. Frost Breath. Tap up to 2 creatures. They don't untap during the controller's next untap step. Okay. Draw a card if we got a power 4 or greater creature. We get Trample. And whenever we get a big boy back in, we get to draw a card. We got a Thrashing Brontodon reprint. Pursued Whale. I've heard about this one. When it enters the battlefield, we create a 1/1 red pirate token that says this creature can't block. Creatures you control attack each combat if able. Spells your opponents cast the target. Pursued Whale costs 3 more to cast. So definitely a limited bomb. As long as the red pirate can't block, means we can swing with Pursued Whale, or we can hang back and all their creatures just swing into our big 8/8, and we give up a little life total or something like that perhaps to make favorable trades. Very good and limited. I don't really see it coming into play for Constructed. But who doesn't love a little bit of the white whale? Chandra's Pyreling. Elemental Lizard, just hanging out on somebody's shoulder despite being made of lava. Whenever a source you control deals damage or non-combat damage to an opponent, it gets +1/+1 and gains double strike. Joriel. Recluse. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a Oh, that's the other thing. Blue-green card draw would also be very interesting, especially with that Snaky Boy that gets +1/+1 whenever you draw a card. Create a 2/2 cat creature token, and then until the end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX, which is the number of cards in your hand. That is pretty good, because it's creatures, not just cats. Could also be very good for cats, though. So that's a way to get more card advantage out of the loot mechanic, right? You're still drawing a card, you're still generating a 2/2. So despite the fact that you are putting stuff in the graveyard, maybe not getting 100% of the card advantage that you want, it's still quite good. Furor of the Bitten. +2/+2, and then attacks each turn. Okay. Another Sanctum of All. Gormand. Witch's Cauldron. Sack a creature to draw a card. Interesting. I don't know if this would have a place in Sacrifice, necessarily. There's not the recursion aspect that you'd expect. Plus you have cards like Priest that can sacrifice and add mana, while also making another player sacrifice stuff. I just don't know if it does enough to make its way into that archetype. Volcanic Salvo. X less, where X is the total power of creatures you control. 6 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. Not horrible. It's a sort of... What do I get? Basri's Lieutenant. Vigilance. Protection from multicolored. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So it could be himself, so it could be a 4/5 for 4 with Vigilance. And then whenever Basri's Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had any +1/+1 counters on it, create a 2/2 White Knight creature token with Vigilance. Very interesting. Sublime Epiphany. We didn't get a good chance to take a look at this the first time I got one, but it's like the new Cryptic command, but you can do everything. Choose one or more. Counter target spell. Counter target triggered or activated ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, or target player draws a card. That, when you can resolve this for 3, probably, seems pretty strong. But getting to turn 6 to use it seems like an iffy proposition sometimes. We'll see. Maybe in Bant Ramp. Ooh, our first Planeswalker of the night. Garruk Unleashed. Alright. You plus them up. One target creature gets +1 or +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. -2, you create a 3/3 beast creature token. Then if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk Unleashed. And then -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle your library. What an insane emblem there. Gadrick the Crown Scourge. Flying. Gadrick the Crown Surge can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. So, wow, a 3-mana 5/4 flyer. Not too shabby. An interesting thing that makes its own attacking ability by putting treasure tokens out, but also can ramp you, so has a different benefit there. Solemn Simulacrum is a World Skinner card that was designed way back when it came out in the Mirrodin block, I remember. And It's just a nice, well-balanced little dude, you know? Sure, it's a 2/2, but it's 4 mana, colorless, lets you search your library for a basic land card, put it into play tapped, and then you draw a card when it goes away. So you get 3 cards for the price of 1, potentially more, right? Because you get the creature, you get the land, and you get to draw a card. Now, that doesn't seem like super flashy powerful, but Solemn Simulacrum has been around for a while, and it's a staple in many decks, especially in Ultra Dragon Highlander. Like, it's just so versatile, you know? It's definitely worth one of in any of your Brawl decks. Ooh, we got our Liliana. And I guess this isn't our first one, so maybe I missed something. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Target creature gets -X/-X, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. And then -7 to get an emblem, where at the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control and gains haste. That's nuts. Oh man, we got Basri Cat. This is a new Planeswalker that I've been pretty excited about, actually. Put a +1/+1 counter on 1 target creature, and it's indestructible until end of turn. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Ugh, what? And then you ultimate it, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 soldier token, and then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That is insane too. All of the ultimates for the base set Planeswalkers in this new core set are absolutely crazy. I love them. Ah, yes! What an awesome little voice effect there, right? Ugin the Spirit Dragon. 8 mana, already has 7 loyalty. He deals 3 damage to any target as his plus-up ability. Exile a permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors as his minor minus ability. And then his -10, which can be done in 2 turns if you can protect him. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanents from your hand into the battlefield. Holy moly. What a card. Yeah. I think it was definitely the right move for them to ban them and to apologize for them. Could they have done it maybe sooner? Probably. But I don't think they're thinking about the 1994 cards so much, you know what I mean? Which is a shame. They should. Alright. And that is 235 packs of Magic the Gathering, all in one place. Hey guys, it's me, Naked, and I just wanted to say thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more cardboard on cardboard crime, please feel free to subscribe as more videos are on the way. You can also catch me live every Monday through Thursday starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/nakedshamus. Just follow the link below. Thanks again for watching, and farewell for now.